Hi everyone, it's Jennifer McCreath. It is 5:32 a.m. Tuesday, August 6th, 2013. Just literally worked an all-night shift, so I'm kind of tired and exhausted and I look awful, but I wanted to turn the camera on while I've got a fresh thought in my mind. So excuse the, I guess, lethargy of the way I look and talk, but I want to talk a little bit about I alluded earlier on last week about a flag raising that took place in Bay Roberts, gay pride flag raising, and there, I guess, was some sort of discussion between Steve Kent of the Conservative government and Jerry Rogers of the NDP government, two folks that seem to want to talk about transgender human rights. And I want to specifically take a closer look at the speech that Stephen Kent allegedly read, which was allegedly written by his colleague Charlene Johnson. I'm quoting the newspaper out there, The Compass. This, I gather, is something Kent read that was written by Johnson. Hope that makes sense. The Newfoundland Labrador Human Rights Commission has a set of guidelines that state that discrimination or harassment based on gender identity is prohibited by the Newfoundland Labrador Human Rights Act, 2010, and that complaints in Newfoundland are accepted under the enumerated grounds. Okay, there's a lot of things that are wrong with that statement. First of all, the Newfoundland Human Rights Commission does not have authority to make claims about the Act. It says right in the Act that they report to the Department of Justice. Secondly, a guideline is not a policy, it's not a law, it's not a regulation, it's not a legislation. Which basically means it's nothing. It's advice, it's a concept, it's an idea. Kind of like me spitting out ideas, sitting here behind my little computer at 5:30 in the morning with absolutely no power or authority except for moral suasion. I'll give you that. There is moral suasion, but that is it. To suggest that a guideline written by an office that has no authority to write laws or policies is sufficient? Sorry, not going to happen. This is an absolute farce and a sham. Charlene Johnson, I won't criticize you personally because I don't know if you really did write those words or if they were written for you, but somebody is making a major error. Not only are they providing false information, but they're, in my opinion, blatantly trying to mislead the public. Gender identity and gender expression, neither are in the Human Rights Act, explicitly or implied. Implicitly, I guess is the term. There are, we're getting down to policy 101. Legislation is often accompanied by regulations. Regulations are law that are enforceable. Bottom line, guidelines are not enforceable. You can violate this guideline and guess what? Nothing's going to happen to you. No penalty, no punishment, nothing. Secondly, I must point out that the Human Rights Commission, as lovely as those folks are, they have absolutely no power and authority to do anything about anything other than make recommendations, give advice, pat someone on the back. They don't even have the power to slap you on the wrist. You could be blatantly violating the Human Rights Act, and all they can do is say, yeah, we've looked at the situation, we agree, you're violating the Act. That's it. They're not a court, they're not a judge. They don't have order power. So nice try, Steve Kent, nice try, Charlene Johnson, but we're not all stupid out here. Maybe that needs to be pointed out. Members of the trans community are not all stupid. Sure, some of us may be. I'm not. I've got a lovely bachelor degree, which I worked hard to earn, which proves that I got the brain. And I've got 7 years of policy related work experience in government entities. So you're not going to slip anything by me, folks. There is a major gap in this legislation. Other provinces have stepped up to the plate and amended. They've recognized this gap and they've filled that gap properly. Congratulations to Ontario. Nova Scotia has done it. Northwest Territories. Gender identity and gender expression added to their human rights provincial codes. Manitoba has put gender identity in, but not gender expression, so they're a step perhaps in the right direction. The federal government is currently looking at this issue as well, so there's only maybe half, maybe less. I'm not sure what's going on in some of the other provinces. I know that legislation has been tabled. Newfoundland remains one of the few to outright refuse to put gender identity and gender expression in their Human Rights Act. While we're on the topic of human rights, the Newfoundland Human Rights Commission is also unique and rare in the fact that it does not report to the House of Assembly or the House of Commons, if you will, as a whole, but they report to a partisan politician, the Minister of Justice. Basically what this means is they're not reportable or accountable to the citizens in the public. They are reportable to a partisan politician, which also puts serious concerns into their ability to act with integrity and credibility. They are now forced to undertake actions that are deemed politically correct or risk having their work deemed null and void by said government. So first and foremost, we need to fix the Human Rights Commission's reporting system. They should not be reporting to a politician who's partisan. They should be reporting to the government as a whole, the House as a whole. Secondly, we need to give them a little more teeth so that they can do more than just make recommendations. We need to give them the power to actually investigate properly, identify problems, and ensure problems are mitigated by giving them order power. If they see that there's a breach of the act, they need to be able to order a remedy to that situation. They do not have the ability to do that right now. Right now, and further, gender identity and gender expression, they're not the same as sex. They're not the same as sexual orientation. It's not about who you're attracted to. This is about who you are and your ability to obtain medical services and employment and housing, among other things. Just did a video there the other day about going 0 for 2 in job competitions. Even though I won them both, they refused to hire me. Tough situation. And also, other human rights commissions, if they smell something fishy, if they think there's a public policy issue, even if it's not necessarily a human rights issue, they will order an inquiry. Oh, you're being denied health care because you're trans? That sounds like a problem. Duh. So you would think. Oh, you're transgender and you've won job competitions and they're refusing to hire you? Well, yeah, that might be worthy of an inquiry too. If it was a federal jurisdiction, absolutely. I know that the feds, I've received word that they would, in fact, based on their laws and legislation, they have more teeth. They can do that. They can investigate problems and solve them. Whereas the puppet system that has been set up here in Newfoundland is absolutely a joke. It's a disgrace. It's a disaster, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And shame on going back to Bay Roberts there. Shame on them all, really. Trans people should have been speaking at that event to tell their story about these situations. The straight people and the gay people, the cis people as we call it. Cis means you're not trans, by the way, C-I-S. If you're cis, it means you're not trans, and if you're cis, it also means you can be an ally, but you can't speak for us or work for us. It's not going to work that way. I'm getting sick and tired of the cis people shoving trans people aside, throwing us under the bus. I mean, it's nice that you want to raise the flag in Bay Roberts. Provincial government's Women's Policy Office, I understand it was one of their units that organized this event, so shouldn't be surprised that they would be there and that they would exclude trans people and that they would have controversial comments from Charlene Johnson that relayed inaccurate and unfactual information. To me, this is nothing more than just propaganda, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, I just thought I'd point that out for all you folks out there. If you hear the word guideline, it means absolutely nothing. Just an idea, just a concept. I have a guideline that I wear my hair and my makeup every time I turn the camera on. Didn't happen today. Guess what? Haven't broken any laws, any rules. Just a guideline. Just an idea. Go ahead. Anyway, 10 minutes is probably enough on this video. Thanks everyone for watching. Do get in touch if you want to talk about this. I'm quite perturbed and ready to go to bat, not just for myself, but for the trans community as a whole, who's suffered enough crap from this government. You want to learn how to file a human rights complaint, even though it won't get you very far? Let's do it. You want to know about filing a lawsuit? Well, that I need some help with. If you're out there, if you're seeing this, if you're a human rights lawyer, charter challenge, looking at perhaps taking the provincial government to a federal court to suggest that their legislation is unconstitutional and violates my rights and freedoms. But that's for the next video, so I won't get into that too deep. But yeah, I am planning to launch a charter challenge against our provincial government for basically what they did to the, I'll go on shortly here. They amended their Privacy Act to ensure that job competition, personal information about the candidate can be kept secret from them. So not only can they refuse to hire you even if you win the competition, they don't have to tell you why they're not hiring you, and they keep that secret. So you don't learn, you don't grow, you don't develop, and at the same time it allows you to cover up discrimination and corruption and all these other problems that we have in government. So lots to talk about. I'm sure there'll be more videos on these. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Jennifer McCreath. Have a good morning.